こんにちは、ハリケーンフットボールです。今回の教材も、トッテナムホットスパーへ電撃移籍が決まった高井幸大に関する動画ですが、もう皆さん飽きてきたでしょうか。今回はトークスポーツからの動画ですが、スパーズへの移籍の第一報を受けて、日本にいるジャーナリストであるアラン・ギブソンに話を聞いています。日本での高井幸大の評価や、日本の高校や大学のサッカーについて触れながら、今後も海外で活躍する日本人が増えてくるだろうと話しています。実際にどのように話しているのか、チェックしてみましょう。
Good afternoon, Paul Hawksby and Charlie Baker here on talkSPORT. Now, I think most Spurs fans blindsided last night. The first new face in under the Thomas Frank era was a young Japanese centre-half, 20 years old. Kota Takai, 4 caps for Japan, 82 games in senior football, £5 million. Yeah. He's a player I don't really know very much about. So we turn to someone that we always do on the world of Japanese football. He is the editor and publisher of J Soccer magazine over in Japan. It's Alan Gibson. Good afternoon,
Hello,
Alan.
Good evening from Japan.
Good evening. Yes. So, I mean, has this been kind of in the offing for a while? Had you heard whispers about this, or were you slightly blindsided by it too?
Not at all. I don't know why you called me. No, well, this young man was definitely going overseas within this transfer window for sure. And I think he had plenty of offers from many teams in various countries. I'm quite surprised that he's gone straight into the Premier League, and I'm hoping, I mean, I don't know, you probably know more than I do, if he's going straight into the team or at least into the squad, or whether he's going out on loan like someone like Mitoma did, for example, for a year before coming in and setting the Premier League alight. So it'll be very interesting to see. I'm very excited.
I watched it as a Tottenham fan, Alan. I watched a little 5-minute show reel, and he looks very quick. Most of his highlights seem to be kind of pacey recovering tackles to win the ball and not take the man. Is that kind of the cornerstone of what he's about?
Yeah, he's very, very good. He's very fast. He's registered at 6'4". I'm not sure, 6'3.5", which is very unusual for a Japanese player, of course, and should be a problem in the Premier League if size matters. My wife says it doesn't, so that's a good thing. And he's only about 82, 83 kilograms at the moment, I think, so he might need a bit beefing up. But I mean, I think some of the highlights you've probably seen were in the Asian Champions League semi-final when he played against Cristiano Ronaldo, Sadio Mane, and John Duran. And basically, he had them in his pocket all the game. I didn't realise Ronaldo was playing for about 60 minutes.
Wow.
So, I mean, seriously, I was sort of watching it on a small screen, and I really had forgotten that Ronaldo was there. I mean, he was really,
he was just off to the left of the screen. He wasn't quite making it.
Yeah.
You said, I saw you tweet earlier today, Alan, saying good luck to him. But is he ready? Will he waste away in the reserves? Do you think,
is he one for the future? Do you think?
They say he's going into the first team squad. Obviously, there's going to be he's going to have to adapt. Clearly, and Mitoma, you're right. Went Union, didn't he? And played in Belgium. When he came back, he was ready. I think I saw one of his very early games for Brighton. They played Spurs, and he came off the bench. And I said to Paul Barber, who is that guy? Blimey, he's good.
Great.
I mean, if he can have anything like that impact, Tottenham have got a bargain by the sound of it.
Yeah, well, obviously he's not an impact player as such, because he'll be at the back snuffing out everybody else, hopefully. But as I said, I was like, well, straight into the Premier League. Will seriously, if I'm not sure again of the Spurs squad, but I know they've got 4 or 5 centre backs. And will the manager Ange Postecoglou would have surely given him a chance immediately, but that's a different story now. If he gets a chance, I'm sure he'll need guidance. I mean, He's just 20. I think he's 21 by this September, start of the season. I mean, he's done all of his time at Kawasaki Frontale as opposed to choosing to go to university, or he's been chosen quickly so he doesn't have to go to university. But a lot of the guys come in straight into the J1 at 22 or 23 after they've done 4 years at university. But the university leagues and the high school leagues are very, very competitive in Japan, and they develop players very well. So it's not like he hasn't been playing at all anyway. So someone like Mitoma, who came in after 4 years at university, well, you've seen the result. It didn't hinder him at all by starting late. And in this case, he's started early. He's been playing at least, last year he was J1 Player of the Season, J1 Young Player of the Season. And he deserved it very much so. You can play either feet, both left and right. I'm not sure what Spurs need. He's played at right back too. I don't think he's played at left back, but I'm sure he probably could. He's played in 3-back systems, 4-back systems for Japan and Kawasaki Frontale. He's big. I think one of the keys I've seen is that he's not afraid to stick a foot in now and again. He's got a little bit of malice and a little bit of strength about him. And I think, for me, if I may digress slightly, is that some of the Japanese players tend to be too nice.
Right.
You know, they won't go as far as kicking some guy up the backside when they need to, or hacking someone down on the halfway line when they really need to.
Right.
And to me, I do like that thing about Japanese football. I don't want them kicking each other up in the air, but
I've seen Endo do that though. I've seen Wataru Endo.
Put
his foot in here and there. That's sort of his. I mean, I think he's hell of a player, Endo.
It's needed now and again. And sometimes I don't want it, but I do want it.
Yeah.
Especially in the national team when the referees have been weak and allowing other players to get away with things, and Japan don't give it back enough. He was.
Are there more to come, Alan? Would you say? Do you think are there other Japanese players you can see making a switch to Europe that you've been impressed with?
Yes, I think there's. Well, if you'd probably literally look at the last Olympics where Japan played, I was going to say they rarely use overage players in the Olympics. They usually tend to stick to under 23s. So there's 26 there, of which a lot of them are already overseas, actually. But I mean, Japan just now they qualified for the World Cup with 3 games to spare, I believe. So the last 2 games they sent a second squad and probably played a third team against Australia. Had about 80% of the play and lost 1-0.
Right.
And then played a bunch of, I mean, I think there was one player in the team with about 45 caps, Kamada from Crystal Palace.
Yeah. And
literally the rest of the team had about 19 caps between them.
Wow.
So they have got plenty of players coming up from the university to the high school. We've just had a guy go straight from university to Norway, to Brøndby, Denmark. Sorry, Norwegians.
Yeah.
And certainly these days, the high school, as I've just mentioned, which will get thousands of players, thousands of fans, and the finals played at the National Stadium, and they'll fill it up. They'll get 55,000 at the National Stadium for a high school final. And there are dozens of scouts from overseas at high schools these days too.
Well, it's interesting
Sounds
stuff.
good, Paul.
We'll see how he does, Alan. A pleasure as always. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Alan.
Pleasure is all yours. Thank you.
There we are. There's Alan Gibson, the editor of J Soccer magazine.
Should QPR be looking forward to having him on loan, by the sounds of things, Paul, for a while?
No, not necessarily.
No, you think he'll be
we
there?
don't favour one club.
Okay.
Maybe West Brom will be
of course.
You know, with Ryan Mason there now. Maybe we'll have a bit of an understanding with the Baggies.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows?
I see that.
I mean,
I see that Nat Phillips is signing for West Brom, which he's still he was still a Liverpool player.
Yes, I know. He's been out on quite. I saw him saying
lots of loans. Still a Liverpool player.
Him and his family can put down roots.
Yeah, going to West Brom.
Our experience of Japanese players. Kazuyuki Toda was the last time. He was a defensive midfielder back in the day.
Yeah.
One ex-Tottenham player who'd seen him said to me, he could be our Vieira. I think he meant Patrick. He wasn't even our Fabio Vieira. Let's be honest. It wasn't the most successful signing, but there have been lots of good Japanese players over. Good luck to the lad. 20 years old. It came absolutely out of nowhere. But thanks to Alan to explain all, and it looks like there could be more Japanese players heading this way.
次は解説です。今回は難しい表現というよりも面白い、知っておくと便利な、使いたくなるようなイディオムが多かったと思います。早速、本日の解説をチェックしてみましょ
う。Or were you slightly blindsided by it too?
ブラインドサイドは見えないところから突然やってくる衝撃的な出来事を表す動詞です。ニュースや人間関係、ビジネスの現場などでよく使われます。例えば、友達から突然別れ話を切り出されたり、職場で急な人事異動があった時など、予想していなかったことにびっくりする状況です。また、スポーツでは、視覚からのタックルといった具体的な行動を指す場合もあります。受け身での表現も頻繁に使われ、何かに驚かされたや、何かで不意をつかれたと訳されます。日常会話やニュースでも見かけるので、覚えておくと便利な表現です。
Or were you slightly blindsided by it too? Or were you slightly blindsided by it too?
And setting the Premier League alight.
セットアライトは、何かに火をつけるという物理的な意味だけでなく、比喩的に興奮させるや盛り上げるといった意味でもよく使われる英語表現です。スポーツやエンタメの分野でよく見られ、選手がリーグを沸かせるや、ライブが観客を熱狂させるなど、ポジティブな高揚感を伝える表現として活用されます。ニュースでは火災事件などでも見かけるので、文脈によって直訳と比喩のどちらかを見極める力が大切です。
And setting the Premier League alight. And setting the Premier League alight. So.
Is that kind of the cornerstone of what he's about?
コーナーストーンは、もともと建物の土台の一部である礎石を意味し、そこから転じて、物事の土台や根本的な要素という比喩的な意味で使われる単語です。ビジネスや教育、チームスポーツ、国家の理念など、あらゆる体系的な構造における最も重要な核となるものを指す際に用いられます。例えば、信頼は人間関係の基盤、守備の要の選手、企業理念の中心、など、形が見えないけれど大事な土台を表現するのに適しています。形式ばった文書だけでなく、日常会話でもよく出てくる言葉なので覚えておきたい単語です。
And is that kind of the cornerstone of what he's about? Is that kind of the cornerstone of what he's about?
So he might need a bit beefing up.
ビーフアップは、牛肉から連想されるように、何かを肉厚にする、イコール、強くするというイメージの交互表現です。物理的に筋肉をつけるや、体を大きくするといった意味でも使われ、抽象的に体制を強化するや、内容を充実させるといった意味でも頻繁に使われます。セキュリティを強化するや、履歴書の内容を補強するなど、様々なシーンで柔軟に使える便利な表現です。動詞のストレングスーンよりもカジュアルかつ交互的です。
So he might need a bit beefing up. And basically he had them in his pocket all game.
ハブインワンズポケットは、誰かをポケットに入れているというイメージから、相手を完全にコントロールしているや、すでに勝負をつけた状態といった意味で使われる表現で、政治、ビジネス、スポーツなどの場面でよく見られます。特に、説得に成功した、信用を勝ち取った、あるいは経済的、感情的に相手を操れる、というような時に使われます。また、試合をポケットに入れる。イコール、勝利は確実といった風に、物事の展開が有利であることを強調する際にも使われます。交互的でドラマ性のある言い回しです。
And basically he had them in his pocket all game. Because he'll be at the back snuffing out everybody else, hopefully. But
スナップアウトは、もともと、ろうそくの火を消すという意味ですが、そこから転じて、何かの勢いを止める。希望や流れを断つ。感情を抑え込む。などの比喩的な意味でよく使われます。スポーツでは、相手の攻撃を封じるや、チャンスを潰す。政治や社会の話では、希望を打ち砕くなど、非常に効果的に何かを消す。終わらせるというニュアンスが含まれています。場面に応じて肯定的にも否定的にも使える表現ですが、感情的、ドラマチックなトーンで使われることが多いのが特徴です。
because he'll be at the back snuffing out everybody else, hopefully. But because he'll be at the back snuffing out everybody else, hopefully. But he's not afraid to stick a foot in now and again.
スティックアフートインは、特にサッカーで強気にタックルすることを指すイギリス英語の交互表現です。相手に向かって臆せずに足を出してボールを奪おうとする姿勢を称えるニュアンスが含まれています。守備的なプレーや闘争心を示すときに、解説者やファンがよく使う言い回しです。特に、タックルと異なり、気迫や積極性、怖がらない姿勢などを強調した表現で、スポーツに限らず、比喩的に困難に立ち向かう姿にも使われることがあります。
He's not afraid to stick a foot in now and again. He's not afraid to stick a foot in now and again.
Him and his family can put down roots.
プットダウンルーツは、植物が根を張るように、人が新しい土地に住み着き、生活基盤を築くという意味の比喩表現です。引っ越しや移住、移民などの話題で使われることが多く、家庭を持つ、地域に溶け込む、人間関係を築く、といったニュアンスを含みます。この表現は、単に住むだけではなく、精神的、社会的に落ち着く意味も含むため、感情や人生の段階を描写するときにとても役立ちます。ニュースや小説、エッセイなど幅広い文脈で使えるイディオムです。
Him and his family can put down roots. Him and his family can put down roots.
いかがでしたか？高井幸太のことを知っているイングランド人はほとんどと言っていいほどいませんので、スパーズへの電撃移籍の報道を受け、みんな 知っている人に聞いたり、できる限り調べている、といった感じですね。今回は、トークスポーツという番組の性質からも、ニュースの第一報を受けてのリアクションであり、簡単な話しかしていませんが、すでにスパーズファンをはじめ、それなりのスタッツと映像を分析しながら、高いコータを紹介している動画もかなり上がっています。もちろんこちらでも扱いたいとは思っていますが、少しボリュームがある動画が多いため、皆さんの希望がありそうでしたら、取り扱いたいと思います。コメントなどでご要望ください。本日もご視聴いただきありがとうございました。またすぐにお会いしましょう。